guys, it's Shannon. I am outside in the workshop today. I wanted to take some time to give you guys a more in-depth look at how I prep my wood before I actually create my wood signs. So let me show you. So real quickly, I wanted to just point out that the wood that I like to use most for my wood signs is pine. It's also known as common board, and I like to get mine at Home Depot. I went more into depth about the wood that I like to use in a video, which I will link up in the iCards if you'd like to go and watch that. And then what I like to do is square off the ends, because the ends are pretty rough looking and a lot of times they are not square. So I like to start by trimming that off, and then I just use my measuring tape and a pencil to measure and cut the size that I need. This saw right here is a DeWalt compound miter saw, double bevel, and I'll insert a link in the bottom of the description if you'd like to see exactly what miter saw that I use. You do not have to start with this one. I upgraded to this one. I started with a 10-inch Craftsman miter saw, and that one worked great for me, but I used this quite a bit, so it was worth it to upgrade to this. Of course, when you are cutting wood, you want to make sure that you are being safe about it. So I always wear safety glasses and gloves. Some people don't agree with wearing gloves while you are working with saws, and I do think it's kind of your own preference. I like to not get splinters when I'm working with wood, so I go ahead and wear gloves while I'm cutting. So I've gone ahead and just cut my wood here, and what I like to do is come back in with this orbital sander. So this is just a DeWalt orbital sander. Most of the time I use 80 grit sandpaper. You can use 100 grit, you can use 120 grit to get the finish that you like. Most of the time I use 80. It seems to knock down some of the rough edges and still give it a nice smooth look. So again, when I'm sanding, I always use my gloves and my safety goggles. So tips when you are sanding, you want to make sure you're going with the grain of the wood, so back and forth this way. I also like to round these edges, these sharp edges off just a little bit, and make sure to hit the corners too, so that you don't have too sharp edges. And that'll give you a nice finished, ready and prepped piece of wood, and then you can go ahead and stain it or paint it from this point, depending on the look that you're going for. So as far as staining goes, I have some newspaper set up to kind of cover my work surface, and you're just going to use a clean cloth. Make sure you get all the dust, the sawdust and dirt off of your wood piece before you start staining. Next, I like to use nitrile rubber gloves. So the wood stain that I use the most is by Minwax. You'll soon see me using this color Jacobine most frequently in my videos. That's my favorite color at the moment. And then as far as the staining cloth goes, you can use, this is an actual staining cloth. You can buy this by the wood stain, and it's just a lint-free cloth. Or you can also save your old t-shirts and just use these and cut these up, and these work just as good. So I've just cut off a square. What I like to do is kind of wrap it around these two fingers and hold it, and then use this to dip into the stain and then apply it to the wood. So you don't want it drippy, you just kind of want to wipe it off, and then again you're going to go with the grain of the wood. So back and forth the same way the wood goes. A look at the prepped piece of wood. Very simple to get your wood ready to add a design to and get creative with. Like I said, I'll let this sit at least overnight, 24 hours, even longer if you've got the time. The more it sits, the longer it'll cure, and the easier it will be to apply a stencil design to the front. To paint your wood, I would suggest using a foam paintbrush, and I like to use chalk paint. My favorite is Waverly, which is just from Walmart. It's very inexpensive, but it's a great quality paint. I do have lots of videos on sign making. If you would like to check that out, I will have that playlist linked in the description box below, where you can actually see a wood sign being made from start to finish with the design and everything, stenciling included. I also have an in-depth tutorial on how to create contact paper stencils if you would like to see that. I will also have that linked in the description box below. I hope that this video inspired you. If it did, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I do DIY tutorials every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Leave me a comment down below. Do you guys prefer the wood stained look or the painted wood look? I would love to know. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Bye guys.